know each other,
Yeah. So Latika is she's the associate professor here and is also the program coordinator for MA Criminology.
Okay.
And Garima is an academic consultant who's helping us with the criminology program.
Uh-huh. I think I met Latika. Hi, Latika, Santosh here. Yeah, but when did you join?
Latika, you're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, I joined last year in August.
Okay, of course.
22nd August.
Yeah. Then I think we never met. But anyway, good to meet finally, even in this webinar.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Good. Nixon, are you there? You can put your video on. I think we can all, at least for a while, we can see each other, and then you can switch off. Just about 11:28, 29. Is it 11:30?
11:28.
Yeah. So let's. It's not that too many people turn up in these webinars, as I told you, Lawrence. But what is happening is that the idea is important. I discussed with you that we are basically trying to do the orientation bit that we used to do earlier after the students used to take admission. So basically, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to prepone the orientation idea, and we are doing it before admission.
Also, Santosh, we've got our second year MA students who are graduating has made a bunch of videos which are testimonies.
Okay, great.
We also have a YouTube channel with some of the older testimonies.
Great.
So what I can do is I can also upload them and share them with you.
I think all of these we are trying to do precisely. These are the things that we are trying to do, and one of the things that we thought probably doesn't cost us much, but it probably had some value in terms of. I see that those recordings which have been now uploaded for other schools, hundreds of people have visited those videos. So maybe at the moment there are not many, but those who are seeking admission and they are trying to make a decision where to go, and I have interest in law, but doesn't necessarily from a law school.
Right.
So what all we can do? So they can probably find these discussions that we do amongst ourselves of some importance. That is a very modest expectation that we have from these webinars. I'm not expecting that there will be a floodgate and there will be too many people running to us and all that. It doesn't happen. So I'm sure when essentially what we are trying to do is that when they make these decisions, we want to be there with our programs and with ourselves. As I've been saying that, I think it's important to also talk about university in terms of faculties, not merely universities in terms of infrastructure. That has become the dominant template of introducing the university. So not that because there is any we need to shy away from the fact that, but I think it's important that ultimately, if I'm going to take admission in some course, I would like to know my teachers.
Very honestly, AUD, the faculty is the infrastructure.
Yeah. So
you don't otherwise have very good infrastructure.
So
morning, everyone.
Hi, Javed. So with the modest infrastructure that we have, given the fact that we are operating from the transit campuses, and we are hoping that our new campuses will be a reality soon or in near future. But with these modest expectations that we began with these webinars, and we are almost now towards the end of the this series, because I think we have had so far 10 schools and we have 14 schools. So the 10 schools have made presentations. And basically the template was of conversation, talking to each other, and essentially highlighting the salient features of the program that we offer, and secondly introducing the faculties to third, and especially the specialization, because you have the PhD program as well, and the third is about the career options, especially Lawrence. Especially in schools like design, culture, creative expression, global affairs, and a school like us, this law and governance, citizenship. There is always a question about what will we do after this. And these questions are not as much when we say doing MA sociology or MA history, for example, because there is some legacy and some sense of this thing about clarity about the career paths, etc. So in that regard, I thought this will make a lot of sense if these videos are uploaded. So I want to welcome all of you in this series of webinars that we are organizing on behalf of the Student Services Division. And 2-3 things that I would like to say in the beginning that, and I've been saying this in all the webinars, that we are a state university. And we are a university, a state university is a unitary idea. We do not have affiliating colleges. Many a times, many people, those who are actually will look at these recordings. For them, I'm saying that we are a unitary idea and we have multiple campuses. We do not have affiliating colleges. We are entirely government of Delhi's university, not Delhi University. Government of Delhi is different. Government of Delhi is the state government, and we are a state university under the GNCTD government of National Capital Territory of Delhi thing. So that factual clarification is required because there are hundreds of Ambedkar colleges and Ambedkar universities in the country. Even in Delhi, there is a college under Delhi University which is known as Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar College. And many a times people think that, maybe we are part of Delhi University. So this confusion, I've been saying this in all these webinars, the opening remarks, that let there be no confusion about it. So there's one. And two, on behalf of the Student Services Division, we say that we have been saying that it's the Social Science Humanities University. And 2-3 things are keywords for us in terms of our curriculum, in terms of the way we go about things. It is the idea of access and our sensitivity to the margin. They are not mere tokenism, but we take it very seriously in whatever we do. And in that regard, I would like to add from the Student Services Division that for students coming from but 2 things. One, given the fact it is a state university, 85% seats are reserved for the Delhi students and 15% are for the outside Delhi. I also would like to add that Delhi, when I say that 85% seats are reserved for Delhi students, thereby I mean that if you're looking for a master's program in, say, school of SLGC, Law, Governance, Citizenship in AUD, then if your degree, your last degree, your graduation degree is from Delhi, one of the colleges of Delhi, then you are a Delhi wala. It's not about domicile, it's about the last qualification. And these are some technical things that we need to kind of really forefront so that there is no confusion. And if you are looking for a BA program in any school, then your +2 degree must be from a school of Delhi. That makes you eligible for 85% reservation seat reservation. That has to be said very, very prominently. Number 2 and number 3, that as I said that margin of all kind of marginalities we are very sensitive to that, and we want to show it very frontally, so to say, that in our university, and I think it's very, very distinctive that SC/ST students coming from SC/ST background, there is 100% waiver, absolutely no money required. If you join, then there is no such barricade. I mean, this becomes a very difficult thing. But in our university, I think there is. If you belong to this segment, and of course you must look at the website, the brochure we have put up on the website. Brochure tells you about what kind of SC/ST certificate requirements are there and all that. Last 20 pages are very important. All of you must see this. What are the waivers are available, EWS category, and especially for SC/ST and PWD category, there is 100% fee waiver. Begin with, and that's important for us. And we must highlight that. And so money should not be any kind of hindrance in if you're want to pursue higher education in SLGC. I think these are the things that we are very proudly must say about that we are there for you. And as I say that rest of the things about the courses and the programs, there will be presentation by the school. And a few things that I wanted to say, that we have very generous, enabling environment in terms of learning enhancement fund. We have travel grants. We have, conferences. If you're attending, then there are grants for the students, right from BA to PhD. if you are in both national and international programs that you want conference you want to attend, then there are of course grants from the university to kind of facilitate that the learning environment and your journey in this. So I think of course the SWF fund, and there are waivers economic on the basis of the income that the family has, and all of these are there part of the brochure. So when you visit our website, you must also see those details, and that will help you make a decision, because I think we are a new university, but we are as much there, in every sense, because I think we as I said, and as Lawrence attested to that, the fact is that we may be new, but we are here for 14 years now almost, and that's a long journey, and it's a hard journey, and I think many of us who joined early on 2009-10 in Dwarka campus, it's a long journey, hard struggle, but I can very proudly say that if there is one thing that I would like to show off to the world, it is by colleagues from all the schools. I mean, yeah. So that's our strength, and so why not start with our strengths? And with this note, I would like to hand it over to my dear colleague Lawrence Liang, the Dean of SLGC, to please carry it forward. I'll be coming in and out, but I think it's over to you, Lawrence. Welcome to everyone, and sorry to interrupt your summer vacation. That I must say in the beginning, but all that we are doing is basically for our university, and I'm very happy that you are all part of it. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Professor Santosh, for giving the context and the background of the university. For many of you who are going to be watching this video, you're probably not watching it live, and you'll be watching it at a point when you're going to be considering whether you should join Ambedkar University Delhi, and in particular, whether you should consider the School of Law, Governance and Citizenship. And to all of you, I extend an extremely warm welcome, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you to this orientation as well as introduction to SLGC. My colleagues will be joining me in providing you specific details about the individual programs that we have. But what I'd like to do is spend a few minutes to give you an overview of the vision of the school and what it is that we envisaged when we started the school. Traditionally, if you think about where you study law, it's always in the context either of a law college or a law university. And when the opportunity arose for us to establish a program for the study of law in a university that is exclusively a social science and humanities university, it was an incredible opportunity because it was a chance in a way to explore and create a program that would otherwise not be found in a traditional law university. So the SLGC, the School of Law, Governance and Citizenship, began in 2017, and it was an extremely bold, if I can say, initiative, because it was the introduction of an MA in Law, Politics and Society, the first MA in law in the country, and one of the very few, because normally you always have an LLM, which is the Masters in Law, or you have a BA LLB program. At SLGC, we have 3 programs currently. We have a MA in Law, Politics and Society. We have a BA in Law and Politics. We have an MA in Criminology. And this year, we're going to be introducing a PhD in Legal Studies. So what is the difference between studying law in a law university and studying it at Ambedkar University, Delhi? The first thing to keep in mind is that traditionally, there's always been a kind of division of labor between lawyers who study law and sociologists who study sociology and sociology of law. But in the last 2.5 decades in India, there's been an extremely productive kind of implosion of the discipline. And in the last 2.5 decades, we've had some really high quality scholarship coming from the fields of sociology, from psychology, from economics, from history, and from political theory, all of which have actually really opened out the ways that we think about the idea of law. Because in some ways, if the earlier model of studying law was based on an assumption of the autonomy of law, this autonomy has really imploded with the emergence of all of these other disciplines. If one had to think about what is the autonomy of law and what's the presumption, it's basically an internal perspective, right? The presumption that law has a certain logic of its own and has to be studied only from within its own logic. This is really in some ways the autonomy that has been challenged by the introduction of interdisciplinary legal studies. So the argument is that if you really want to understand the law, you have no choice but to turn to politics. But if you really want to understand politics, you have no choice but to understand the law. So what then would be a political approach to the study of law, just as what would be a legal approach to the study of politics? And this is in some ways the motivation for us. In many ways, if you take classical sociology, sociologists like Max Weber, etc., have always studied law. But there has always been this kind of division of labor, as I mentioned, between people who study legal doctrine and sociologists who contemplate what would be described as the real world of legal interaction. So rather than recycling this division at SLGC, what we have done, and the dominant approach that defines our philosophy, is to look at both of these approaches as a productive tension that actually exists in interdisciplinary work, and to acknowledge that the task of critical scholarship requires a constant translation, a destabilization of these well-established disciplinary boundaries. And so how we try to depart from this dichotomous approach is by integrating the two approaches, by bringing a sociological study of law, by bringing a political understanding of law, and by opening up other new emerging terrains such as law and literature, law and psychiatry, etc., rather than keeping them in these silos. And that's really what distinguishes our school from a traditional law university. Now, if you ask yourself, what are the reasons that one should even want to study the law from an interdisciplinary perspective at all? I would say that there are two reasons that one would attribute to it. One is just the sheer importance of law. We live in a country in which almost every issue, whether it's social, political, cultural, will inevitably at some point of time get legalized or get constitutionalized, right? So if you take your newspaper today, the hot topics that are already on your front pages, whether it's the debate about the UCC, the legalization of same-sex marriage, or the constitution of a bench to look at Article 370 and the amendment to Article 370, etc. All of these are political issues which also have a very specific legal form. And it's when they get legalized that they actually encounter this world in a way of law. And that's how the two actually come together. So there is, on the one hand, the pervasiveness of law as an institution. It's a totalizing institution that touches upon every aspect of our lives. And we've been very fond of saying in the school that law is too serious to be left to lawyers alone. But at the same time, law is too serious to be left to historians or sociologists alone. And it's exactly why the design of the program is such that half of our faculty come from a legal background, while the other half come from a mix of disciplines such as sociology, history, political science, etc. But even those who come from other disciplines have worked on law as a part of their doctoral project. And those who come from law inevitably have an additional degree in another discipline. And that's really what makes SLGC an interesting kind of space. And that leads me to the second argument. If law is very important, and we all know that at one level, that's not good enough a reason for why we need an interdisciplinary study. The second reason to my mind is equally important, which is an interdisciplinary approach to law is really what makes the study of the law far more exciting and far more interesting beyond it as a technical field. So outside of the big controversies, as I mentioned, like UCC, etc., if you take the idea of what is the role and the life of law in everyday life, you'll notice that there are invariably a number of questions that are actually unfolding. Many of you might have encountered ChatGPT. A big question that is going to arise is, how do we think about questions of authorship? How do we think about questions of originality? How do we think about plagiarism in the context of ChatGPT? Or if those of you who have been following the development of electric vehicles, a company like Tesla, which is really innovated on the idea of the self-driven vehicle, there is an entire history of how motor vehicles and accidents are treated in the law all of these are now being recalibrated with the question of self-driven vehicles. How do we think about the question of liability? What does it mean to think about the question of risk and compensation? These are not merely legal questions. They're not merely social questions. They're necessarily social legal questions. And in some ways, the domain of law is a domain where you don't have the luxury of being indifferent to these larger questions. It's very similar to medicine. Even though medicine could be treated as a technical scientific domain, we all know, especially in the context of the pandemic, that medicine or public health is a field where doctors just don't deal with illnesses and with death. What they deal with is crucial philosophical questions of what it is that makes us mortal, what is it that makes us vulnerable, and what is it that makes us, in a way, accountable to each other. In that sense, law and medicine have a lot of similarities. Their starting point very often is the question of vulnerability. In the case of medicine, it might be health. In the case of law, it really is a question of how do you envisage a collective living which is going to be marked by conflict, which is going to be marked by disagreement, by dilemmas, by moral paradoxes, and about choices that will be made both at a policy level and at the level of how individuals decide to lead their lives. And in that sense, law provides us a very distinct vantage point into the human condition in all its shades and complexities. And what makes life interesting is what makes law interesting. It's in law that you see life in an emergent manner and you see it unfolding with complexity. Bringing together social sciences, humanities into the study of law enriches our possibilities of engaging with this social world of the law. It doesn't pit the technical or the doctrinal against the sociological. It instead argues that the technical and the doctrinal is actually a form in which life, the social, the political, etc., manifests itself. And it's this which informs, in a way, the vision of our school. It's this which informs the structure of the various programs that we have. And I'll hand it over now to my colleagues to take you through the individual programs. What I do want to end by saying is, as a prospective student, of course, the question that you're asking yourself is, what will I do if I get a degree from SLGC? Based on the experience of our alumni and on our past students who have graduated, let me just say that what you have are a variety of options. We have students who are doing their further studies in terms of a PhD, some of them in the most distinguished universities in the world, including NYU in New York, Frye University in Berlin. We have people who are at JNU and other institutions in India. We have students who are doing extremely exciting cutting-edge work. So we have 3 of our graduates who are working with a portal called Indian Qanun, looking at the intersection between legal research and artificial intelligence. There are students who are in the corporate sector. There are students who are in various research institutions and think tanks. And of course, there are people who, after having graduated from here, have actually been inspired enough to want to do a law degree. So we have students who are now doing a 3-year law program. We're very happy to answer any specific queries you may have, any doubts that you may have about the school or the program. And you can feel free to contact any of us after having watched this video. So I'll end here for now. Thanks for being here. It's also my great honor and privilege to introduce my colleagues. 4 of my colleagues will be sharing specific aspects of their program with you. We're going to begin with Dr. Javed Wani, who is the program coordinator for the BA Law and Politics program. He'll be followed by Dr. Nixon, who is the program coordinator of the MA in Law, Politics and Society. Then we will have Dr. Latika Vashisht, who is the program coordinator for our MA Criminology program. And finally, we have Dr. Pooja Satyogi, who will talk about the PhD in Legal Studies that we are introducing. Thank you. Over to you, Javed.
Thank you, Lawrence. Just give me a second. I'll just share our PPT. Is it visible? All right. So thank you, Lawrence, and hi, everyone. As Professor Lawrence has already explained the scope of the this intersection between law and politics, my name is Javed Iqbalwani, and I am the current program coordinator for BA Law and Politics program at the School of Law, Governance and Citizenship. So to begin with, taking a cue from what Professor Lawrence just explained about the philosophy behind the school, let me bring to your attention the uniqueness of the program. Now, BA Law and Politics is a true interdisciplinary program because it brings elements from the discipline of law and political science, and puts them into a conversation with each other. It also offers, therefore, an active engagement with questions of law and social sciences, with questions of theory, related to politics and law, with questions of representation, of identity, of marginalization. It also bridges a gap in what Indian BA degrees do not offer at the moment, where intersection of discipline is, predominantly pursued. Now, if you take a look at the brochure that is available on AUD website, you'll see that the Law and Politics program also gives an equal weightage to law and politics courses, in addition to many other courses which will be on offer during the course of the program. It also, given the new education policy, the BA Law and Politics program, in addition to law and politics courses, also kind of comprises of skill-based courses. Particularly, I would like to mention courses such as courses on the paralegal studies, so which are kind of market-oriented courses. There are additional activities connected to various academic discussions taking place at SLGC. For example, last year we instituted a moot court, and students actively participated in this moot court. I'll come to that in a little bit. Now, coming to the faculty members at SLGC who engage in teaching the BA course, we have Professor, and some of them do not teach, but I'm just still introducing them here. We have Professor Lawrence Liang, who just spoke, is the Dean of the school. We have Dr. Latika Vashisht, Dr. Selvin Paul, Dr. Anushka Singh, Dr. Pooja Satyogi, Dr. Noru Rigzin, Mr. S.R. Prabhakaran, Mr. Arjun, Mr. Keith Agarwal, and myself, currently the program coordinator for BA Law and Politics program. So now let me go into a little bit of a technical side of the BA-LP course structure. I'll be referring to BA Law and Politics as BA-LP here on. So BA-LP comprises of 120 credits, and each semester consists of 20 credits. And, similarly, every year, which is of 2 semesters, consists of 40 credits. Now, there is a possibility of more credits if a student chooses to pursue the 4th year, which is a dissertation year, which will be then the BA degree with research. Now, there is a thoughtful distribution of credits between various disciplines, and there is also an integration of language courses such as English and Hindi in the program, keeping in mind the new education policy guidelines. Now, what are the type of courses that are offered in BA-LP as per the new education policy? So you'll be offered courses such as discipline-specific course, core courses, discipline-specific electives, ability enhancement courses, skill enhancement courses, general electives. So if you take a look at the slide which is in front of you right now, so discipline-specific course, for example, you'll do a total of 12 courses, which will be fairly divided between discipline of law and political science. Then you'll have discipline-specific electives, which are again 8 in number and divided between the 2 disciplines. You have courses such as English, Hindi, and environment, collectively comprising of 12 credits, which are ability enhancement courses. So, but in addition to the thrust on an equal training in the field of law and political science, students also have the option to opt for electives from other schools. All of such electives will come under general elective, and this could be any course that interests you, that you fancy while enrolled in the degree program. Another important thing that has happened with the arrival of the new education policy is the compulsory nature of internship. So in the total BA program, students will have to do a 6-credit internship program. In addition to that, there are certain value-based courses which will be offered from a larger pool of courses available across schools, which will be offered at a university level, and students will have the option to choose from them. Now, just to give you an overview of what kind of courses you will have the opportunity to sit for if you choose to opt for BA Law and Politics program. For example, on the law side, we have courses such as Legal Imagination, Introduction to Indian Constitution and Politics, Constitutional Law 1 and 2, Core Concepts in Law, Law and Civil Liberties, Media Law and Democracy. These are some of the samples I'm sharing with you. On the political science side or social sciences side of the program, you have courses such as Policing and Governance, Right-Based Political Movements. You have courses in theory such as Critical Theory in India, Themes in Indian Politics, Citizenship Theories. We also have 2 courses which are reading-based courses, and these courses are called Reading Gandhi and Reading Ambedkar. We also have heavy philosophy and theory intensive courses such as Western Political Thought, Modern Indian Political Thought, and Introduction to Political Theory. So you can see that there is a balance when it comes to the discipline-specific course and discipline-specific electives which you can opt for. And in addition to all of these courses, you also have the option to kind of opt for various other ability enhancement and value-based courses available across the university. Now, coming back to some of the other activities in addition to the what is happening in the classroom, as I stated earlier, that SLGC instituted a moot court competition in 2022, and in front of you is a visual from this very exciting event in which various teams from BA Law and Politics program participated. And here you can see the moot court in action. Various teams, as I said, from the students participated in this moot court competition. And here in front of you are participants from these 4 or 5 teams that participated. At SLGC, we are not merely focusing on the academic side of things, but we are also encouraging students to participate in co-curricular activities, to exhibit their skills. Recently, we had a very lively farewell 2023 for the Law and Politics program, in which students participated with vigor. We did the Miss Farewell and Mr. Farewell also in that event, and students also got the opportunity to exhibit their talent. Student activities are fully supported by the these kinds of co-curricular activities. Academic and co-curricular activities are actively supported by the SLGC faculty. As you can see, faculty members have shown their presence and encouraged students in these activities. Now, with this, I would also like to add that there is a continuous feedback mechanism that is built into the various programs that are housed at SLGC. Student feedback is taken into meaningful student feedback is taken into account, and there are grievances are also addressed in the most appropriate manner. I can assure you that the faculty members at SLGC are very supportive, very encouraging, and many of our students are already have in the past gone on to do 3-year BA law programs and other master's degrees in India and abroad. And the current batch has also recently written CUT, and many of them are looking forward to being placed for master's degree both in AUD and in other universities. So I invite all of you to give us kind of serious thought regarding opting for the BA Law and Politics program at the School of Law, Governance and Citizenship at Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, Delhi. Please come join us on this exciting journey of multidisciplinarity, and thank you very much for listening to this short presentation.
Thanks, Javed. We will now have Dr. Nixon, who's the program coordinator of the MA Law, Politics and Society program, who will introduce the program to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lawrence. My name is Nixon, and I'm currently the program coordinator of MA in Law, Politics and Society. So what I'll do is I'll present you the gist of what the program is about. And as the first program, which was introduced in the School of Law, Governance and Citizenship, the program in a way represents an organic flow, especially pertaining to the vision of the school, what the Dean of the SLGC, Professor Lawrence Liang, has enumerated at the beginning of this presentation. So let me just share my slide here. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you this program called MA Law, Politics and Society. So in short, we call it MALPS. So as I said, it represents the conversation between law and social sciences, which the school encourages as a part of its foundational vision. And this program, MA program, is a 2-year program, and it's designed with the premise that a focus on the intersection of law and politics is of crucial importance in shaping a better understanding of modern India. And as a 2-year program, it is spread across 4 semesters. And over the years, since its inception in 2017, we have students from various disciplines who have actually participated in this intellectual journey of exploring this intersection across the 2 divides, that is law and social sciences. And we have students from law background, from different social sciences backgrounds, such as history, philosophy, sociology, and political science. And even we have students from science and engineering background who have joined us in this journey. And so if you're a student who is curious and have deep interest in exploring the intersection between law and social sciences, this program is definitely for you. And in this program, we have a combination of core courses and electives. So I'm just going to take you through the list of core courses and electives that we currently have as a part of this program. So for the core courses, it's a combination of conceptual and legal-based courses and the skill-based courses. So for skill-based courses, we have papers like legal methods and research methodology. And for conceptual and theoretical part, we have jurisprudence, legal philosophy, sociology of law, law in the making of modern India, law, state and politics, Indian constitutionalism, law, history, and politics. So these are the core courses which forms the fulcrum of this program called MA Law, Politics and Society. And in addition to these core courses, which in a way is compulsory for all the students who are going to join this program, we have a list of electives. And these list of electives are in a way a specialized area of scholarship, cutting across the disciplines. And just to read out what we have currently here in the school as in electives, we have law and modernity, law, crime and law, society and crime, criminal imageries and legal order, policing and society, law development and environment, citizenship struggles and practices in India, feminist jurisprudence and gender justice, speech, crime and law, constitutionalism and social transformation, jurisprudence of the Mahabharata, legal trials and public culture in India, theorizing the Indian state, and law, politics, and indigeneity. And in fact, this list of electives are not exhaustive. We do keep on updating these electives based on the interests of the students that kind of join the program. And so broadly speaking, this is how the structure of the MA LPS looks like. Now, you don't have to worry, for now, you don't have to worry about what the credit stands for, because at the beginning of the semester, when a new batch of students join in, we have a very comprehensive orientation, sort of a program at the start of the semester.
Nixon. Hi, Nixon, you seem to have frozen. Give us a minute and I'll just try and figure out what has happened to Nixon's connection. We seem to have lost Nixon due to his internet connection, and we'll wait for him to sign back in. But to pick up from where he left off, he said that you don't have to worry too much about the electives at the moment, because at the beginning of every batch, we have a very detailed orientation program that will actually take you through the entire design of the program. I have Nixon on the line. While Dr. Nixon is trying to sign back in, and there seems to be some connective issue that he has, let me just continue. In many ways, the MA Law Politics Society program has been, our flagship program. It's what we began the school with, and it's also where we've experimented the most. The difference between the BA Law Politics and the MA Law Politics Society is that the BA Law Politics program is a dual discipline program, right? So as Dr. Javed explained, there is an equal weightage between law and political science / political theory. In the MA program, it's more or less entirely interdisciplinary. And one of the aims of the MA program is to get you ready to basically do a dissertation, which is what you'll do in your final semester. And the structure of the program and the design of the program is that it incrementally leads you up to being able to write a 10,000-word dissertation. So from the foundation courses, which gives you an introduction to legal topics, etc. And here I want to add that one of the concerns that many people and many students generally have is whether or not they will be able to manage if they don't come from a law background. Let me unequivocally say that the program is designed for people who don't come from a law background and for those who come from a legal background. And we've made sure that the foundation courses or the core courses are such that some of the core concepts, whether it is in legal philosophy or in terms of the history of the Indian Constitution, you will get a good grounding on. And constant feedback for us, at least from students who don't come from a law background, has really been in terms of how the program has actually enabled them to understand the law in a way that they never thought it would be possible earlier. Since Nixon is back here, let me hand it back to Nixon. Nixon, I've handled a little bit of what you were talking about in terms of the orientation, etc. I'll give it.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know where because I wasn't aware that the network went off. So if someone can just please tell me
you were at the point when you were giving an overview of the credits, but you also said don't worry too much about that. It'll be handled in the orientation.
All right, thanks. All right, sorry about that. There was a bit of network interference. So I was explaining to you about the semester structure of the MALPS, and the culmination of the program in a way is the dissertation writing that we have in the fourth semester. Of course, the process of dissertation writing begins from the third semester when we ask the students to prepare the abstract so as to initiate the process of dissertation writing. And so the dissertation writing in a way forms a culmination of the program, because by the end of the third semester, students will have a broad idea of any particular sort of a theme that they want to explore in the form of the dissertation writing. And that so this particular aspect of the program in a way is one of the perhaps the most attractive aspect of the MALPS. And in addition to that, we also have an internship component, which is intrinsic to the program, and it's for the duration of 4 weeks, where we encourage the students to pursue the internship in the NGO, policy and research institutions, and it could be academic institutions, business, media houses, and including the political parties, and any other organization that broadly engages with the legal, political, and social issue. So the idea behind this internship is to really encourage the students to take their classroom learning into the empirical field. And right after they complete the internship, we have an assessment where students will come and share about their experiences, write a paper about the kind of work that they have done in their place of internship, and the kind of the flow of the conversation and the feedback that we get in a way also provides us, in terms of how possibly we can integrate those experiences that students have shared in the classroom teaching. So in a way, the internship component really kind of speaks to the vision of the school that was, mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. And apart from the classroom activities and of course the internship, we have other academic activities. And one of the crucial part of that academic activities is the writing workshop. Now, we have been conducting writing workshops for MA students, and the kind of experiences that the students have shared about their learning in this workshop is that, it's something that sort of is kind of, assists them in their writing process, both in terms of their term papers and of course in writing their dissertation. So in writing workshop, what we generally do is we invite experts who actually have done a degree in writing skills from university. For example, recently we invited an expert from the Jindal, where the whole process of how to approach even the concept of writing and what does writing actually mean was imparted to students. So in a way, writing workshop serve as one of that important kind of an ingredient, which in a way supplement what we teach in the classroom, and of course the related to components such as dissertation and term paper writings. And we also have a colloquium where we invite experts from different fields pertaining to broadly the fields that speak about this intersection between law and politics, law and society, and the fields around that particular sphere, to come and share their research or their their findings with the students. So these are the recent colloquiums that we conducted in the school. And apart from these two, we have also something called Alumni Series, where we facilitate a conversation between students who have passed out from the program and the existing batch of students that we have. So essentially, it's about sharing their experiences of what is life after SLGC. How has, for instance, SLGC shaped their understanding or opened up the pathway for them as they try to explore their various career paths after the completion of their master's program in School of Law, Governance and Citizenship. So that's something that we do here in SLGC as a part of our MA Law and Politics program. So that's all for the presentation of MA Law and Politics. And as I said, the detail aspect of it, some of the details pertaining to the credit system and other progression in terms of the semester, that's something that we do in detail at the start of the semester. And so we look forward to all of you who have a curiosity and interest in exploring the intersection of law and politics or law and society to be a part of this intellectual journey that we encourage in School of Law, Governance and Citizenship, and particularly in Masters in Law, Politics and Society. Thank you. So over to you.
Thanks, Nixon. So in addition to the core programs that we have, which are our BA in Law and Politics and our MA in Law, Politics and Society, we're very happy to share with you that last year, we've introduced a new MA, and it's an MA in a very exciting area, criminology. Criminology is an emerging field, both of practice as well as academically. And it's a discipline which in a way is necessarily interdisciplinary. At SLGC and at Ambedkar University, Delhi, the approach that we have taken to the study of criminology reflects the core philosophy that informs our school, and our emphasis is really on what could be described as critical criminology. I'm delighted to have my colleague, Dr. Latika Vashisht, who's the program coordinator for the MA Criminology program, and we also have Garima Puri, who works with us on the criminology program, and they will tell you about the program. Latika, over to you.
Thank you, Lawrence. So first, I'll share a broad overview of the program. And I also want to specify, actually, taking on from Lawrence, that what makes AUD's criminology program different. In the last few years, many programs of criminology have started in many Indian universities, both private and public, and state research organizations. This sudden mushrooming of criminology degree programs that we are witnessing is on account of a growing interest in crime prevention and massive developments that are taking place in crime control technologies of the state, forensic science, and allied disciplines. These developments make criminology a discipline which is going to witness profound growth in the coming years. So students who are thinking of joining criminology are definitely entering a field where opportunities will be abundant. The only thing required from your side would be your sincere commitment and passion for the course. At AUD, as Lawrence said, we started MA in criminology in 2022, and now we'll be taking our second batch of students this year. There are three key points that I want to emphasize upon, which make this program unique and distinct. As Lawrence said, that this is a program about critical criminology. We very well could have called it MA in critical criminology. Now, what do we mean by this? I want to share with you that in conceiving and developing this program, we have not just been attentive to the fact that crime and criminalization are products of socio-political conflict in society, but also that criminology as a discipline, in fact, all sciences around crimes and criminals were produced at a time which was at the height of colonialism. We remain aware that colonialism as also colonial sciences have not ended. They have only become more powerful under the garb of objectivity and scientific temper. And we stay with this background. And while staying with this background, this course seeks to critically engage with existing concepts, theories, technologies, criminology, remaining aware that they may be a product of a violent history. For instance, in forensic science, which is going to be a full-fledged course, which we'll be studying in one of the semesters, we study how the science of forensics also involves a subjective human element, as if that subjective human element is intertwined with the science. We will also understand the phenomenon of pervasive forensic frauds, which many countries, including the United States and first world countries, are witnessing today, something that totally undermines the rule of law. Our objective would be to burst the myths that more technologies and more science necessarily will promise us more safety and more freedom. In a nutshell, what I want to say is that this course is not a course through which we intend to create mere technocrats. What we aspire for is to nurture critical minds who in future will become allies and partners who will uphold the values of criminal justice, but at the same time, who would understand the politics of criminology, and also they'll be able to see its dark side. So this is what we mean by critical criminology. A second thing which makes this program unique is its intense focus on interdisciplinarity. We know, as Lawrence was saying, that historically, criminology is unique among all academic disciplines. And its uniqueness lies in the fact that criminology studies one topic, one single topic, which is the topic of harm or crime, from a variety of perspectives, rather than studying a range of topics from a common perspective, like anthropology, like psychology, or sociology. Therefore, interdisciplinarity is constitutive of criminology. AUD, in line with the new education policy, is deeply committed to interdisciplinarity. And the fact that this program is housed in School of Law, Governance, and Citizenship makes it truly cutting edge, because the students of criminology will be exposed to faculty who specialize in critical legal studies, philosophy, political science, critical anthropology, to just mention a few. And finally, the third point that I want to emphasize about the uniqueness of SLGC's MA in criminology is that it is constantly going to think about the link between criminological practice and contemporary academic thought. Unlike most programs in the country, which overwhelmingly focus on the practice of criminology, in AUD, we have designed the course in a manner that students will be able to see connections between practice and academic thought. So in as much as we will learn about crime control, about state corporate nexus and technologies to prevent, identify, quantify, or punish crime, we will also continually attempt to trace the histories and genealogies of these practices to reveal their hidden human costs. So the thrust will not singularly be on the question of who a criminal is and how do we find criminals, but also on related issues which are equally important and should concern anyone who's interested in understanding the phenomenon of crime. Questions like, what is justice? What are ethics? What is the limit of state power? What is the value of dignity and human freedom in democratic societies, and so on and so forth? So this is the background of how we have conceived of this course, and what you're really, the kind of ideas you're going to encounter when you join us. I'll now share how the 2 years of this program will look like. So I'll just quickly share the PPT here. Okay, so the duration of the MA is 2 years, and it comprises of a total of 80 credits. And in the span of 2 years, which is broken into 4 semesters, you would be required to do 9 core courses, which are compulsory courses, along with 4 electives. You'll have to write 1 dissertation. do one internship, and it will be coupled with many field visits. So, and I'll just talk briefly about them. So what are your core courses? Your first core is an introduction to criminological theories, which is called Introduction to Criminology. Then there is a course on criminal justice and law, where you are going to study the substantive as well as procedural and evidence-based aspects of criminal law, focusing on India, and also, doing comparative analysis with other jurisdictions, specifically those jurisdictions where we follow the Indian Penal Code. Thirdly, we'll have a course on penology and corrections, where we will study the prison system and others. A very, very important course on psychology of crime. And please note that it is not titled Psychology of a Criminal. It is called Psychology of Crime. And we'll talk, when we meet, we'll talk more about the distinction between the two. You will have a course on cyber criminology, a field that is really emerging, on victimology and victim assistance, juvenile justice system, crime investigation and prevention, and a mandatory course on research methods. These are your core courses. You'll be offered a wide range, a bouquet of electives from where you will have to choose. And these electives would be, we'll be offering them within the criminology program, which will be exclusively for the students of criminology, but you will also have the option of choosing electives from other schools, like, electives which will be floated for MA Law and Politics and other schools of AUT. For instance, some of the courses are Indian constitutionalism, law, crime and society, criminal imaginaries, then courses on NGO management, gender and crime, disaster management, community violence, crime analysis, and so on and so forth. This is an incomplete list, because we've started working on more electives, which can be offered to the students. Also, as I said, that there is a component of mandatory field visits, which starts from your first semester onwards, where students will be taken to police stations, forensic labs, other state-based research organizations, to actually get a hands-on experience of the practice of criminal law. You would also be required to do a 4-credit internship, and this internship can be in a government or non-government agency like an HRC or any NGO, and we'll help you out to identify the correct place for you. And finally, in the final term, so this is how your first 3 semesters will look like. Finally, in the final semester, you would be doing, it is going to be less heavy in terms of the courses that you have to write, but you'll have to write a mandatory 8 credits dissertation, which makes it a very rigorous program, which requires that you wholeheartedly commit yourself to it. You cannot do anything part-time, while thinking of this MA. So that is all from my side. Garima, do you want to add something which I have missed out?
Garima, you have to unmute yourself.
Garima?
I think. Thanks so much, Latika. I just want to, add, after listening to Latika, that one of the tests that any prospective student should apply when thinking about joining a place is very simply whether the faculty of that school would be excited to do courses that the other faculty members are offering. And on that count, this is something which, I can say from our school, that every time some of my colleagues have offered or created new courses, I have felt like wanting to attend those classes and wanting to do those courses. So on that count, the MA Criminology program is a very exciting program that I would have loved to have been a part of. And we can only now vicariously enjoy it through you. So we really hope you consider joining this program. Thanks, Latika. Now, the last presentation that we have today will be by my colleague, Dr. Pooja Satyogi, who's the program coordinator of the PhD program, which is being launched in the school this year.
Yeah, hi, thanks. Oh, God. Sorry. Hi, good morning. I am Pooja, and I'll be, most of my words have already been used. So this both makes it very easy for me, but also very difficult. So what I'm going to do is maybe just not spend so much time on, on the little lists of courses that I have compiled, but really, I would like to spend a little more time on us, telling you who we are as researchers and what is the work that we do. But while I do that, let me just also share the little presentation that I have made. You have to let me know. You can see this, right? Hello?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
Yeah.
Pooja.
All right, the size is okay. Okay, so this is the SLGC PhD program. We are calling it a PhD program in legal studies. And I think enough and more by way of introduction to the field has, Lawrence has already done that, and so has Latika. So I'm not going to sort of, repeat our commitment to interdisciplinarity, and I'll maybe just sort of walk you through what the program is going to look like. We are, this is something that you anyway know that we are not looking at law as study of law in a law school, but we are really looking at the manners in which a question about legality, a question about law, whether it can be framed and how convincingly can it be framed from disciplines that are not just law disciplines. And I think you've got enough and more introduction about this today. We are in the process of advertising our first set of seats, and that criteria is going to be, of course, according to both, it is going to be both according to UGC guidelines, but also UGC guidelines as adopted by AUD. What you need to understand is that the process of getting admitted into this course is going to requires both an entrance and an interview that we will hold for students after the entrance has been held. The syllabus for entrance is going to be put up on the AUD website before the dates are announced. Then, of course, this is what you really should be sort of thinking about. This is the most important thing that you should really be concentrating on, which is that actually until a year ago, the PhD program was a 5-year program. But according to new UGC stipulations, now it is a 6-year program with 12 semesters. What we need to know is that the first year, which has the first and the second semester, will be dedicated to training you. So this will be your coursework period. And coursework is, it can be up to, let's say, 16 odd credits, but really sort of we design this. Supposing we have, let's say, a cohort of about 10 people, it is perfectly possible for 10 people to be doing, let's say, the same 4 core courses, but it is also possible that all 10 people are doing different core courses. And that's going to come into play because we are going to constitute what is called a a committee, a 3-member committee for every doctoral student coming in. And it is on the recommendation of this committee, depending on the particular trajectory of this student and his or her training, we'll think of what courses, what combination of courses is likely to work best for students. So I'm saying this again, that it's perfectly possible for, let's say, a cohort of 10 people to be doing the same core courses, but it is also possible for there to be variation depending on what the 3-member committee feels is the requirement of a PhD scholar. So each student has a 3-faculty member committee working with him or her through the 6 years that he or she is going to be with us. I think I'm going to skip this slide because I think you've got enough and more food for thought about the interdisciplinary character of the school itself, and I'll just come to what your courses are going to be. Now, what I've marked in purple, which is research ethics course, is a 2-credit course that is compulsory for every doctoral student, as is, of course, some course in method. But these are a list of possible core courses, and we'll do a combination of these courses. So so it's possible, let's say, other than the second course, which is 2 credits, the other courses are 4 credits each. So we are looking at, say, about 16 odd credits, along with the research ethics course. Now, these are the list of courses that we are likely to, this is the basket from which we are going to make we're going to sort of tailor-make this for each and every student who is pursuing PhD for us, depending on their area. In addition to this, of course, we also have a list of electives. Now, of course, as Nixon and Javed have already said, that this is only a tentative list of elective courses. Again, I want you to pay attention to the 4th, which is that in a PhD program, there is also the possibility of doing what is called a directed reading course. What is a directed reading course? A directed reading course is usually a one-on-one course with a teacher where you're basically, you're doing very focused reading in a particular area, which you may require. So, for instance, let's say you could have a scenario where, let's say, you happen to be Latika's student and you are working on some aspect of psychoanalysis, and that may not actually then be an elective that she is offering, but she can do a very focused directed reading course with only one student over a semester. This will also be a 4-credit course. But again, I'm saying is that in PhD, there is a little bit of variation in every student's trajectory. So it's not, so there's going to be, and it is necessary for us to have that variation precisely because then it allows us to work in a very in-depth manner with every research scholar that we have. Now, this is what I'm really, most excited about, which is talking about us, because this is where I get to tell you what are, what is the house offering you, right? What are the skills that this house, this school, as it were, comes with? So we have Dr. Anushka Singh, who's a political scientist by training. Her expertise is in constitutional studies. She, in fact, has written a book on sedition. She works very, very closely with speech theory and is also specializing now. She offers, she's developing over a period of time, she's developed this fantastic research methods course in law and social sciences. Then we have Arjun. Arjun is right now doing his PhD. He's a lawyer by training, and his specialization is in trade law. He joined us a year ago. Then we have Javed. He's a historian and a political scientist with interest in public order and criminality. We have Keith, who's joined us just now, and his work is on, he's also pursuing his PhD, and his areas are constitutional studies and criminal law. We have Latika, who's also a lawyer, and also a PhD from AUD itself. So she's the primary areas that she works in are law, feminism, psychoanalysis, criminal law, who is a lawyer, but his PhD is in film and media studies. His areas of specialization also happen to be, actually I would say areas that he loves teaching are also jurisprudence, constitutional studies, digital humanities, and very recently, of course, he offered a course on the jurisprudence of the Mahabharata. Then we have Nixon. He's a political scientist by training with interests in post-colonial theory. That's me, Pooja. I am an anthropologist and a political scientist with interests in feminism, research methodology, and policing. Prabhakaran is also a lawyer with specialization in environmental law. And Salvin has just joined us. He's a political scientist with research interests in international relations. So this is what we offer to you, as our in-house specialization. And as you can see, that not all of us are lawyers. Many of us actually, and if we were lawyers like Lawrence and Latika, you're going to see that they moved away from law and to something else, and then have come back to law in this roundabout way. So I think, really, this is all that I have to say by way of giving a presentation on our PhD program, which is just about to be launched. And I do hope that many of you will apply and consider us. We are, you can actually, if you've heard of CSLG in JNU, you would have some idea of, kindred interests and what it is that we aspire to do with this new doctoral program. So welcome to all of you, and we look forward to having you with us, pursuing your doctoral studies. Thank you. That'll be all from my end, Lawrence.
Thanks, Pooja. So a big thank you to all my colleagues. And we've come to the end of our presentation, but I just want to conclude by saying that you really should not take our words at face value. As faculty members of the school, of course, we're going to tell you that the school is great, the program is great, etc. And the only people that you really should trust are students who have gone through our program. And on that count, if you go to YouTube and look for SLGC testimonials, you will find a page where many students who have graduated have actually created videos, talking about their experience of the program. And I want to end with just a small clip that I'd like to share with you, based on a small testimonial that some of our students had created. And I hope it gives you a sense of what the school and the program is about. Yeah? Oh, I'm afraid that there's some setting which doesn't allow me to share the video at the moment. But again, just to reiterate, you will find all of these videos on YouTube. Just look for School of Law, Governance and Citizenship, AUD, or Testimonials, SLGC, and you'll find us there. Thank you for being with us. As I've mentioned already, please do not hesitate to contact any of us if you'd like to know more about our programs, or if you'd even like to speak to any student who has graduated from SLGC. We'd be very happy to provide you any information that you need or to clarify any other queries that you may have. Thank you, and we look forward to many of you applying to SLGC.
Hi, can we log out? Are we ending?
Yeah, we can log out, and I think the tech people will handle the rest.
Okay, bye.